Pliers, 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 van pliers! Van pliers. No matter where you travel on the internet, someone's telling you how good these Japanese manufactured pliers are and how they're going to replace every single plier you've ever had in your toolkit. So these are essentially marketed as a screw extraction tool, but with the same form factor as your regular combination pliers. Essentially, the two questions I have about these pliers are they good at doing what they say, extracting tools, and could they take over your set of pliers in your tool bag, or are you going to end up carrying around another set of something? So their big claim to fame about why their pliers are so good is their unique concave jaws on the ends. Now these have different horizontal and vertical, or I guess X and Y segregations you'd call them. These little hardened teeth made for gripping the screw, as opposed to your regular pliers which have flat teeth, no concave, and just one line of segregations for gripping. The whole idea behind the concave jaw is when you're gripping a screw or something round, hexagonal, whatever it may be, you're going to get a better chance at getting more than 2 points of contact as opposed to you would with regular parallel flat jaw pliers. And this now is just science. With the more points of contact, you don't have to give it to her as hard to get the same results. Now, one of the big things about these pliers is they are not the only tool that can do this job. And if you're smart enough or lucky enough to carry a pair of these Knipex Cobras, you've already got something that's really handy at screw extraction on yourself at all times. So as long as you can get leverage to put these on their side and turn from the side, you've got the hardened jaws that you're going to get the multiple points of contacts on the Cobras themselves. So it's the same as the end of these jaws, but now you've got the leverage to turn sideways and you'll get a lot more torque with the same amount of force on the screw head for extraction. However, you will of course be limited to whether or not you can get enough room to twist the whole tool in there as opposed to just the head of the tool. So I got 3 of the roundest screw heads I could find and I put them in this hard bit of Jarrah. They're in there. Any harder and I'll snap the heads off. So I'll just go ahead and go through the different pliers. Starting off with just my regular linesman pliers. Grabbing the grip on the screw, it's almost impossible. They do just pinch off, like shear off a little bit of metal while they do it. I had quite a few goes at this for all the different sets of pliers I had, but I got the exact same results every single time. The van pliers, they surprised me a lot. I didn't expect them to grip as hard and as fast as they did. They actually took me back a little bit. I thought they were going to work adequately, but I didn't expect them to work this well. As far as twisting force, I did have to put quite a lot on it, like to actually get the screw twisting. But the clamping force, the gripping force, that was nothing. I didn't have to squeeze on the pliers too hard, but I did have to twist on the pliers quite hard because you didn't really have all the leverage in the world. You're not really putting a massive fulcrum in play. You've only got a little bit of space. But the gripping, without a beat, it held onto that screw head. It is possible to use these pliers on the side as you would normal pliers and grip were there, but because the jaws are actually straight in these situations, you end up with those 2 points of contact which you're trying to avoid. However, the hardened teeth do grip and I was able to keep moving this screw. The ergonomics on this one just didn't feel right this way. In this situation, that's exactly where these Cobras come into play. Everyone should have a set of these Cobras in their toolkit no matter what you do. They're just so handy, but as you can see, well within their ease is extracting the screw unless you're trying to use the front of the jaws. So when it comes to screw extraction, they're adequate and they're better than regular pliers. But they also sell these as the world's best pliers and claim that they will be able to do everything that your linesman pliers currently will do, just as good, if not better. So they do come with cutting jaws, just like all regular pliers do. I found these jaws to be adequate. They could cut through the cable that I needed to cut through, and they were able to cut through the different cable armoring that I came across about just as much or just less than all the other pliers that I'm used to using. Like, they could get the job done The actual cutting distance on the jaws themselves was a little bit shorter than regular, but all in all, they were fine, they were adequate, but nothing to write home about. One thing that I did find extremely annoying, and this came up quite quick, is the beveled edges on the front of the jaws as compared to traditional pliers. Whereas you see the Knipex on the right have a square face, the whole front ends were beveled, which when you want to grip something that is round and do a twisting motion, it becomes a lot harder than normal and a lot harder than it should be. As you can see here, I have to actually pinch right on the corner to do this, as opposed to normally I could just grab it anywhere with the regular pliers and split this insulation easy. When I first picked up these pliers and had them in my hand, there's no way I would have ever guessed that this was going to be my biggest pet peeve or hate about the pliers, was this beveled edge. I've been using them for about 6 months now on a bunch of different projects, and honestly never saw it coming, but one of the biggest setbacks is how you cannot grip properly anything but screws. Another drawback as far as using them like normal electrical pliers is because of the concave beveled open edge at the front, you can't grab stuff and twist it as well as you would with a normal pair of pliers. It wants to slip out of the jaws, and unless it's extremely thick, you don't even get a bite on it at all. As you can see here with this screen, I'm having a hell of a time just trying to twist it enough so I can push it through some tube. This is a fairly basic task that pliers should be able to perform if you're trying to sell it as a plier replacement tool. If these were just sold as a screw extraction tool, I'd never even talk about them, but these are supposed to be the be-all best pliers in the world. End of discussion. They throw out all the other pliers, and when it comes to actual electrical work, these have got nothing on a standard set of lineys. One of the most interesting thing about the Van pliers is they're not the only pliers, screw extraction pliers, out on the market. They're not even the only screw extraction pliers made by Engineer Inc., the mother brand. These are the Negisaurus. They are carbon copies from the exact same factory, exact same pliers as the Van pliers. There's 3 differences: the marketing, the colour, and the price. Everything else is 100% the same. You've got the Vampire tools dedicated to the Western world, and then you got the Negisaurus, which is Japan and the rest of Asia. If you were in the market for these, you'd be absolutely crazy to pay for the Vampire tools ones when they come from the exact same factory, exact same moldings, exact same steel, just to get a cooler name, the Negisaurus. I also picked up the smaller version of these pliers, which is more detailed to electronics and smaller things, I guess. I mean, essentially, it's still just a screw removal tool, so electronics versus real world, the same thing, same size screws, same removal. But these are a lot smaller than the bigger versions. They're not competing with your regular combination pliers, and to me, they make a lot more sense. So at the end of the day, where do I stand on these? They're a good plier. They're well made. They're well built. I've got no complaints with the quality. But for functionality, yes, they'll extract screws great. Nothing more than I normally would be able to get away with my Cobras. And apart from that, they're not going to replace your regular pliers in your bag. Not with a current form factor anyway. So if you want something for throwing in your toolkit at home for extracting screws, 100% pick these up. They're a great addition to have, but it's not something I'd carry around on my day-to-day. My favourite one were actually the smaller version, a little bit more nimble, a little bit more easier to use, and from what I found, grip just as well as the linesman combination pliers, even though they had the smaller face jaws. So if I was going to pick anything up, I'd be picking them up. I'd be picking them up in the green Negisaurus, save some money. And at the end of the day, these will not replace your regular pliers. If you do, you'll be kicking yourself because you'll be reaching for them and unhappy with what you get. So hopefully this explains a little bit about the Van pliers. If you had any questions or you got any more, leave them down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I've got a lot of different stuff. Some of it you might like, some of it you might not. But check it out. Let us know. Thanks for watching. Cheers.